The math ain't mathing. Whatever you want to do, try and find your way of being able to do it. There's always options out there to make a twist or do it differently or make it work for you, opposed to just be like, oh, that's expensive, I can never do it, and then just never look back or never try.
Right. So those people that were looking down at us for snowboarding as much as we were and making that YouTube content, is they were looking down because they were trying to cope with their own life and what they're living with.
I used to track how many wins, losses, like things you had, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna win 100 games and like just sit down for the day and just play until I won 100 games. Like, I guess that was always in me. I just found a way, like through video games was how I found how to like track it.
Welcome to the Buckhouse Podcast, the realest podcast on the planet. We dive into relationships, motivation, social media, and the everyday struggles that nobody wants to talk about. No filters, just the truth. I'm your host, Benjamin Buckhouse, alongside Johnathan Buckhouse, as always, right over there. We're two brothers that get together once a week, just talk about what's going on in our lives, talk about motivating things, how to help each other, what's just going on in our lives. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. Johnathan is a snowboarding YouTuber, and there's a lot going on in his life at this moment. And I am a video game content creator with a lot going on in my life right now. But let's go to Johnathan to start this off because you go to camp, like you're at camp by the time that this is posted, but you're about to go to camp, bro. What are some like loose end ties that you're tying up right now, or what's going on right now?
The list is nonstop. I feel like we've never been more prepared for camp than this year, but at the same time, like the amount of energy we've been putting in the last 3 weeks to prepare for this is insane. But also because my camp is a week-long camp the first week of June. But me and my family are going to stay out in Oregon. That's where that camp is held for the entire month of June. So when you're taking your two little ones, your wife, and then adding in your niece, and you're going to live in your RV in Oregon for a whole month, the amount of stuff you got to do is insane. So obviously you got to pack up the camper, make sure you got all the basic essentials and stuff. But then it's like, okay, who's taking care of the lizard and who's watching the fish, and is Shelby coming or she's staying with Cody and all this kind of stuff. So I'm so excited for this month in Oregon, and this is not my first time going to Oregon for an entire month. But as we prepare and get ready, I'm like, dang man, I spent a lot of money. Like we had to upgrade the bike rack from a 2-bike to a 4-bike, and like that was almost one of the most expensive things I've done is get a new bike rack and things. But when it comes to the snowboard camp, I am so pumped because we sold out of camp this year. Super exciting. Because we like the economy got a little rough for a little bit, and then it filling up camp got a little tricky. And so we had to go down from 2 weeks to 1 week this year. So we did 1 week, but we oversold, which is awesome. And then kind of opens up the door for next year to possibly try and do 2 weeks of camp again. Camp is an all-inclusive adult snowboard camp. It's 5 days of shredding. It's a 7-day experience. You buy your camp spot, you buy your plane ticket, there's a shuttle time. We're going to roll up, pick everybody up, drive them up to where the mountain is. We rented this huge mansion, like 10 beds, 6 rooms, hot tub, pool table, pinball machines, awesomeness, like 10 minutes from the ski resort, which if you understand Mount Hood, like that's basically ski in, ski out for that area. And we're going to do 5 days of riding. I'm going to coach everyone on the snow. We're going to film them. I'm going to make a vlog of each day, which is exciting because I haven't been making long form content, primarily just because I know if I make a video, it's just going to tank. But like these summer camp videos, people look forward to them, but they're also kind of more for the campers. So it's really fun to make edits specifically for just a handful of people. And it's like, if other people watch it sick, I don't care. This is for the people that came and had the raddest experience ever. And then we do like video breakdown at the camp house. Bobby's coming this year to cook all the food. We go to Trillium Lake and cold plunge if it's open. Usually it opens the second week of June. So we'll see if it's actually open this year, because I moved camp from the second week of June to the first week of June because Father's Day is like right at like the middle of June, so Father's Day kept getting in the way of, or camp started getting in the way of Father's Day, and Bobby was like, "You better stop that." I was like, "Okay," but super excited. Today I got to go get tires on the camper, and then I got to take Roman to Grandma's house. He's spending the first 12 days with Grandma because Bobby's like, I can come help at camp, Bristol can come, but if Roman comes, I'm going to lose my mind. And I was like, that's kind of fair, because next year, Roman will come to camp, but he'll actually be like, ride with the campers. But this year, he's just too little to keep up. And I think next year, he'll be a solid enough snowboarder. And he's going to snowboard in Oregon with me that whole month of June when we're still out there snowboarding and doing all of it. And it's such a weird, like, we get to blend work with family vacation. And it works out great for, like, lots of reasons, because I'm working, still making a bunch of money, and I'm in the right area that I need to be in. But then, like, we look through our memories of when Bristol's like 3 or 4 months, we loaded up and left in the camper. I have all those memories. And when we bought the RV and did our first Oregon trip, we have all those memories with Roman. And so it's like, it's such a fun thing to load up and go. And in the moment, it's a little stressful to be living in a camper. And you're just like, what I've learned when you're doing camper life is just throw money at it, which sounds awful. But like, if there's an issue, just throw money at it. And just, it is what it is. Like, it's better than suffering. And then you'll have memories that are priceless.
Dang, bro. There's a lot to unpack there, but no, that sounds awesome. Snowboard camp seems like a blast, and I'm excited for all the campers to go out there and experience it. I'm gonna have to make a trip out there one time with you to go experience Oregon, because whenever you go, it looks gorgeous. Like the beaches you guys go to, the mountains you guys go to, just the experiences that you guys have. It looks amazing out there. So I would love to go out there.
It is amazing for 3 months out of the year. June, July, August. Maybe September is good, but there's no snowboarding in September. But it rains all the other months out of the year. Like a lot, if that makes sense. So you show up when the rainy season is over, and yeah, it is gorgeous. And Mount Hood is... it's not even as tall as our mountains. It's a volcano, by the way, guys. This is like singular volcano. But because it's the tallest thing around for like from sea level to 12,000 feet, one, you can see it from Portland, which is over an hour away. When you're on Mount Hood, you feel like you're on top of the world. Where like in Colorado, you stand on the peak of a mountain and you're like, I think that mountain's taller or that mountain's taller. There's like just a bunch of, or equally as tall. So like, you don't get this like, I'm on top of the world feeling like you do when you're on Mount Hood. And yeah, I'd love for you to come out, bro. I'd love to show you all the stuff. It's an incredibly beautiful area. Sadly, like Portland, the city of Portland is so beautiful from a distance. Then you get in there and you're like, oh, this is so ran down and ugh. But going to the coast, they have like a really rocky coast, which is a ton of fun. The water's obviously cold because it's on the west coast. And I don't know, it's just, especially being in Colorado and then being a snowboarder, it's so awesome to be able to go snowboarding for a couple of days and then take the family to the ocean and get to experience the ocean and then go back, go snowboarding some more. We'd like to actually possibly take the route home, go through California, hit Disneyland with the kids, go see Bobby's uncle, who's like a really rad dude out there, maybe surf in California, and then make our way to like the Grand Canyon and then home. Like we'd like to keep extending it, but it gets pricey. The towing, man, especially through California with their gas prices, and stuff gets crazy expensive.
Yeah, I was gonna say we've made trips to that West Coast before. We've gone to California 3 times together actually. We've gone to the northern part of like Reno and Tahoe. We've gone there twice, and then we went down to Southern California to Big Bear once. And then we've gone to Washington to like Mount Crystal, Snoqualmie area. Right, so we've done that, but you and I have not done Oregon together, so it'd be fun to do that. But yeah, Oregon sounds beautiful, and then I also know that Oregon has a lot of really bad problems out there with like homeless and drugs, and so like it sounds beautiful, but at the same time, like it's also sounds like the worst place to live. And I know that I've actually heard like the opposite. I've heard like a lot of people I've met that are from Oregon or whatever, they love it. But I'm like, no, like I could not do that because I get so bothered by that type of stuff. Like Colorado recently, or Colorado Springs recently, ran a bill to legalize the sale of recreational marijuana in Colorado Springs. If you did not know, you could only buy medical for the last like 12 years. And so this last election, they ran a thing to legalize the sale of recreational, and it passed. And I'm not looking forward to that, because when stuff like that happens, when a simple switch as like recreational being allowed to sell, it increases the homeless, it increases the drug use in your city and things like that. And I'm not looking forward to it. So I couldn't imagine living in Oregon where they decriminalized all drugs. Like that sounds terrifying in my mind, but hey, to each their own, I guess.
It's crazy because I've been going to Oregon this is my 7th or 8th camp. So like 7-8 years. That's crazy to say. I've been going to Oregon to do this snowboard camp. And the first year we did it was COVID, the 2020. So this would be my 6th camp? Wait, what? No.
This would be your 5th camp.
No, I've definitely done more than 5 camps. What's going on? Trying to use my brain here. Because season 3 was my first camp.
And you're in season 9?
I'm in season 9. So 6th camp.
That makes sense.
The math ain't mathin'. Anyways. So my 6th camp. And so for the last 6 years, I've been going to Oregon, seeing Mount Hood. And by the way, for anyone out there, like, it was always a dream of mine to go to Mount Hood. But when I looked up like the camps for Hood and stuff, I was like, oh, it's so expensive, I'd never be able to go. Well, then when COVID happened, they were like, hey, we're shifting away from letting High Cascade control the camps, anything like that. Anyone can host their own camp. Because it used to be only High Cascade could have camps. And I was like, holy smokes. And me and a buddy were like, well, let's host our own camp. And then we'd be able to make the money to actually go and do this. And so we did that. We hosted our own camp, and it went great. And it was like, aha, like I found a way now to go to Mount Hood every single summer. And obviously I'm in a privileged position, but the point I'm trying to get to is if you want to do something, find a way to make it happen. And so this thing that went from like, oh, I can never do that because it's going to cost so much. Now it's one of those things where it's like, I go to Hood every year because it's one of my most lucrative weeks of the whole year. I run this camp. It's obviously the most work I do in the year is months of planning and preparing and then selling and then more planning, preparing, and working with the ski resort and getting the places to stay, all the logistics to run this camp. But it all pays off in the long run, because not only do I get to go to Oregon and snowboard at Mount Hood and host a summer camp, I get to take my whole family out there and then spend the whole month out there and still snowboard some more. So like, whatever you want to do, try and find your way of being able to do it. There's always options out there to make a twist or do it differently or make it work for you, opposed to just be like, oh, that's expensive, I can never do it, and then just never look back or never try.
Now, there's always a way to like make your dreams a reality, and that's like the purpose of life, is to figure out, number one, what your dreams are, like what is your passion, what do you want to do, and then from there figure out your avenue to that, right?
Hey, it's kind of like our book we just read.
The 10X rule, which we'll dive into a little bit. And I'm sorry, I'm still getting over this sickness, so bear with me, guys. But like an example of this is a book I'm listening to right now is called Relentlessness. And it's exactly what you think it's about, being about relentless. But the author is the physical trainer / like recovery doctor, I guess. I don't know exactly how to explain what he did, but he's worked with basketball athletes such as Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant. Like, he's worked with top of the line people of like helping them weight train or just be their physical therapist or to recover from an injury or whatever it may be. And he is just a next level trainer. And his dream was always to be a basketball player. He always wanted to be a basketball player, but he didn't necessarily have the skills or the talent to get there. But he still figured out a way to be in the sport. He figured out a way to be in the professional athlete, professional basketball world, and that was by being a physical therapist. Does that mean that he necessarily became that professional basketball player that he wanted to be? No, but he still was living in that life that he wanted to. He was able to figure out a way to like be in that industry, right? And that's kind of like the direction that I'm going with when it comes to the esports stuff, right? I've always had a dream of becoming an esports player, and to be honest, like I wouldn't say that I've given up on it, because some of the people that are competing are in like almost 30 years old, right? And although I'm getting up there, like it's not necessarily too late. But what I'm getting at here is, I would love to own my own esports organization, right? And right now I'm like really pushing content in that direction, because the people that go to these events and like commentate over it, right? The people that are like hosting these events or just being a part of the quote unquote talent team, there are just people that made YouTube content and just stuck with it for a really long time. And now they're going to these events and hosting them and commentating over them. And like, they're the face of the industry. And it's just because they were making YouTube content. And I'm like, why? Like, I can easily do that. And I'm not trying to sit here and talk. I'm not talking bad about these people, but it's like just looking at what they're capable of in game or whatever. Like, I know I'm better than them. Like, I know that I'm able to do it. So it's like what they did that I didn't was they just stuck with it and posted enough Halo content to be noticed. And it's like, I can do that. All I have to do is just stick with it and post enough content. So yeah, like it's like there's different avenues to get to your dream. You just have to figure it out.
I mean, I remember when I was working at Target and I was like, I lived up in the mountains. I'd go snowboarding 100+ days a season. I just remember I would tell myself, one day I'm going to find something in snowboarding that allows me to snowboard for a living, or to continue to live the lifestyle for the rest of my life. And I would like subconsciously say that to myself. And sometimes I would say it out loud, just like, one day I'm going to find something in snowboarding that allows me to do it for a living. One day I'll find something in snowboarding that will allow me to do it for a living. This is before I even ever thought of, I didn't think of a YouTube channel at all. It was Ben. I would just post my season edits. Like, I just remember I was like, I was always getting offered promotions at Target or things, and I'm like, that's fine, but like I still have to snowboard every single day. Like, what are the hours you want me to come in and work? Because I can't work 9 to 5. I have to be able to every single day go snowboarding, or there's no reason for me to live up here. So yeah, I'd love to take this promotion, but I need to work 2 to 10:30, or I'll take this promotion, but I got to work 4 to 12. Like, I have to have a window every day to go snowboarding, or it's not worth me living in these mountains. I'll go work in Target in Denver and get my rent cut in half. Like, and my bosses like kind of understood that, and they always let me like work hours that worked with my snowboarding. But it was just, once again, like having that mantra in my head made it to when I was presented a promotion that was like a $2 raise at Target, that I'd be like, that's awesome, but I'm not going to take it. Like, I don't care about those $2 if I can't snowboard. So and then obviously it all lined up, and now look at me now. I'm snowboarding all the time. I'm going snowboarding today. Day 23 of May. I set a goal. Dude, the big calendar is the most motivating thing I've ever done. I'm not going to lie. Not motivating, but like, you write a goal down. I plan on keeping this calendar for the rest of my life, and I do not want to look at it and be like, oh, I didn't hit 22 days in May when I said I said 22 plus days. And so that means I got to hit 23 or more. And I knew this was going to be like the busiest month of my year. And so I put a high day count. I don't know why I do these things to myself. Because today I got to go get tires, take Roman to Colorado Springs, drive up, and then still find a way to get on snow. It's like,
Hey, that's kind of what our book, The 10X Rule, talks about. And, you know, what I also loved about that was in this book was kind of exactly what you were talking about. Because yes, Johnathan did tell his managers like, hey, like the reality is I need to be able to go snowboarding every single day. And some of our managers in particular, like our direct supervisors, they looked at us like going snowboarding as much as we did and like doing the YouTubing, and they were like, they thought of it as like super childish, or like kind of like we don't understand. Like they're like, oh, you don't get it. Like you don't understand what life's about. Like life's about work. Like you need, eventually you're gonna have to get over this, and like blah blah blah, whatever. Like that's the way that they like talk to us, or saw it. And that's what this book really dives into, is like accepting average, accepting just that like mediocre life of working that 9 to 5 and that's it, or like even working different hours or worse hours, is so socially acceptable, and it's so backwards, because that is like it. There's no limit to the amount of success that there's out there in the world. Like there's no limit to what you can do. There's no limit to content creation. There's no limit to money. There's none of that. But people that accept that limits, people that put those limitations on themselves, are just making excuses on the reasons why they're not being successful, right? So those people that were looking down at us for like snowboarding as much as we were and making that YouTube content, is they were looking down because they were trying to cope with their own life and what they're living with. And so like, bro, I'm so happy for you that you didn't accept that as your reality. You were like, I'll kick ass at work, but I'm also going to still do what I want to do. And I'm so happy that together we were able to figure out a way for you to continue that passion. Admittedly, I probably still would not be doing that snowboarding every day. I loved making content with you, but snowboarding every day is not my thing. I've talked about that before, but that's what they go into this book though, is like, don't accept mediocrity, don't accept that like 9 to 5 life. Put in 10 times the effort, and you can do whatever you want to do. You just have to put in the effort.
One thing it says in the book, and I truly agree with this, is when people are questioning what you're doing or think what you're doing is odd or out of ordinary or like super ridiculous, you're probably doing the right thing. So like, I wake up at 3 a.m. every day. Even if I wake up and I'm not like go getting it, but I wake up at 3 just to like get my alone time or get my read time, or in the grind time I'm absolutely grinding. Like today I already did like 5 things I needed to get done to prepare for the whole day and to get out of here and stuff. And that was just in that first little hour before we started podcasting. We started podcasting at 4 a.m. I tell somebody, like a normal person, that I wake up at 3 a.m. every single day. They're like, what? That's insane. Like, how? Blah, blah. Like, I would never do that. And to me, it's like, it's amazing. I get 4 hours before the family wakes up to myself, to work, to enjoy what I want to enjoy, like to get the work done that I need to get done. So then when the family wakes up and life hits you, hopefully I got a lot of work done. And then on top of that, like, I get to go be like the best version of a dad. I get to go be the best version of a husband. And it's just like, I definitely get to live a richer life because I'm doing something that's so unordinary. But also, like, my kids are young. We go to bed at 8:30. I might shift once the kids get older, because one, they'd be sleeping in a little longer. They'll probably be staying up a little later. And so it's like, okay, the family now goes to bed at 9:30. Like, just make that shift, and I'll wake up at 4 instead of 3. But like right now we go to bed at 8:30, and it's amazing because it's dark outside. Tired, just go to bed.
It's funny because that's actually a perfect transition to actually back to the book, because he talks about, so the author Grant Cardone, when he wrote this book, he recently had his first child, and what he talks about is he's like, in the first hour of my day, like, I wake up actually earlier. He didn't say what time. He's like, I wake up earlier, and I wake up my daughter earlier, and her and I go and do errands together. It's like a quality time with him and his daughter, where he'll go through the store, and like, although he's doing errands, he's investing time in his daughter. But what that allows for him to do is he still gets to work as much as he does, but that extra hour is quality time with his daughter. His wife gets to sleep in, and then get some extra rest. But then he'll go like do his thing with his daughter. He gets home, passes his daughter off to his wife. He goes and works his butt off. But then now his daughter goes to bed. He said at like 7:30. I don't know how old his daughter was at this time. He's like, my daughter goes to bed at 7:30. Now that gives my wife and I extra time at the end of the day to spend quality time together. And he was basically he was saying this by saying, he adjusted his schedule around his family to be able to not, like, so many people say that when you start a family, you no longer can put in that effort for work or whatever. And he said, no, that's not true. You just have to you have to manage your time around it. You have to shift your life around it. And so many people don't do that. So many people are limited with the job that they have to a schedule, but it's more so like they're not willing to wake up that extra hour early to get that quality time or whatever it may be, right? So kind of like what you're saying is you shifted it to where you wake up super early so that way you can get so much work done. But by the time that you're done working in the morning, now you're taking Roman to school and you're making lunches with them. And then, you're still getting quality time in the morning with them, but then you go and work while they're at school, and then you come home and you still have quality time with them. And, like you've shifted your life and your job around your family to where you can still optimize your time spent with them and get so much work done.
So one thing I like in the book on the same topic is like he suggests or mentions like there is no work-life balance. Like there is no balance. You're either all in on your family or you're all in on work, and it ebbs and flows. And some days it's all in on family. The majority of the time it's all in on work. And so when your day is more work than anything, how are you going to give your family that quality time? And essentially you mentioned that, like taking the daughter on errands and then getting nighttime with his wife. And that is so true. Like I've done my best to build my version of a balanced life for my family that like hopefully doesn't drive the wife insane, and the kids are getting quality time. And I would argue that the kids definitely get their quality time, because if they're not getting it, they're going to let you know they're not getting it. Like a kid, when they're not getting their adequate attention, is like, hey dad, hey dad, hey dad, hey dad, 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 dad. Well, your wife will just kind of like go off and do her thing, and then like at the end of the night, she's like, we didn't talk at all today, and you're like, ooh, I dropped the ball on that one. So trying your best to get your work done and to do these things, like I have a thing on my next to my big calendar that's like my perfect day, and it goes through like what an ideal perfect day would look like. It's like work to this time, get Roman ready for school, snowboard, come home, make dinner, spend quality time with the family. Like, it's just like a wrote out, almost like not time blocked, but it's like, hey, like if you follow this somewhat structure, you're going to have like a perfect day where everyone got the best attention, things like that. But sometimes Frontier Airlines, right before you're going down for Christmas Eve, is like, hey, we need this edit tomorrow. Can you do that? We'll give you 12 flights. And you're like, and then just everything changes and the balance is out the window. But if you do your best to try to hit a structure of balance, it's the best you can do. But in all reality, there is no work-life balance. It's what is balance for you in that moment. In the winter, there's no balance for me. Like November through February, there's no balance. It's primary work and snowboarding. And then in the summertime, it flips. And there's more leisure and playtime than there is work time.
I just want to say, if you guys, didn't get this book this month, I would genuinely say that you guys missed out. I loved this book, The 10X Rule by Grant Cardone. I'd say check it out. There's one more thing I want to talk about this book before we potentially move on to a different subject. And I don't need you to turn with me to this page, also just the sleeve. But so I read this and I wanted to ask you about it, bro. It's on page 110, and this particular thing stuck with me, and I wanted to hear if this is something that you like really related to, bro, when it came to when you started your YouTube channel, or when we started the YouTube channel. So it makes a lot of sense, but once again, I wanted to see if this is what kind of helped you, because Jonathan's been always known, or at least in my mind, as a really hard worker. He always put in extra overtime, things like that. But when we started that YouTube channel, like, I can't stress it enough, guys. Jonathan was grinding because he was still putting in about 50 hours a week at work in total, between starting to lunch to then finishing, right? He was at work for about 50 hours. And then we were still going to snowboard for about 2 to 3 hours a day. And then he was still having a marriage and still editing the videos every night, and then getting about like anywhere from 2 to 5 hours of sleep a night. And that was consistently your life, bro. So on page 110, it says, Newton, as in Isaac Newton, talked about the law of inertia. An object in motion continues in motion. Keep taking action until you can't stop your forward momentum. You might even find yourself operating on less sleep and food because you are literally subsisting on your adrenaline generated by your victories. So my question to you, bro, is, was that what you were feeling when you were grinding and making that content? Were you purely moving on momentum? Like, were those victories what was pushing you to that next day? Like, if it wasn't as successful as it was, do you think it would make it harder for you to keep doing what you were doing?
So I would say momentum is everything. Like, losing momentum is brutal. I've lost momentum on my long form YouTube videos, and this is the least amount of long form videos that I've posted this month since starting the channel. And I hate that. But in that moment, in that time, absolutely, it was all momentum. And it wasn't fueled by like success. It was like, oh, that video got this many views, like that's why I'm gonna do it. Or this video got that. It was like, I made a decision, I'm all in on it. And the momentum was like, I'd wrap up that edit, I'd tell it to upload and go to bed. Like, once I told it to upload, that was the success, the motivation. Like, I did the day that I said I was gonna do. I woke up, went to work, went snowboarding, literally the same video we filmed that day, edited that day, and uploaded it. Like, that was the sense of completion. The job is done, on to the next day type thing. But absolutely, momentum is everything. You lose momentum, you lose it all. So like, my plan is to use snowboard camp because I have to make these edits for the campers. You know, that's part of my camp. As you come, we film a vlog each day. Like, that is a unnegotiable something I got to do, which is going to be a great starting the momentum of getting long form content done again. And then I absolutely love vlogging with my family these trips, because then I get to go back and relive when we went to Oregon for this time or that time. So I'm going to use that momentum to keep making summer content and getting back into the long form thing, because I did lose my momentum when it comes to long form. With short form, I've been on the momentum. But when you say you're going to do something and you start getting momentum, here's a great example. I want to get 200 days in 2025. And this last month of snowboarding, and some people won't understand this, hasn't been the most fun. A-Basin got rid of their terrain park. It's like basically one run down, same side hits, kind of like you show up, you do 2-3 runs, and you're like, okay, I've done this like the last 8 days in a row, the same run, same
Well,
side
at least
hits.
you're on the mountain. Well, at least you're on the
Your
mountain.
snow, like, yes and no, dude. You do the same thing. Ugh. And so, but it's one of those things where if I know I stop going, it's going to be easier to not go. Like, you either have momentum of going or you have momentum of not doing. Whatever that is. You either have momentum of doing it, so you're going to keep doing it, or momentum of not. You probably can know this with the gym, bro.
Yes, I do know for the gym. I was just gonna say it's that other law, where it's like an object in motion tends to stay in motion, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, if you're the momentum, right? If you're going every day, you're gonna tend to keep going, and if you tend to be sitting still, you're gonna tend to stay still. You know, like, it's the object that stays in or is in motion stays in motion. So yeah.
And I'll wrap this part up by just saying, when you want to do something, let's say, especially in social media, you cannot focus on the followers in the beginning, for sure. Cannot focus on the followers, cannot focus on the views. You have to focus on, what did I say I was going to do, and am I doing it? You have to focus on, okay, I'm posting 3 videos a week for video games. Are you getting that done? Because if you're not getting that done, it doesn't matter how many views you get, how many subscribers you're getting. If you're not doing the basic, like, momentum thing, then yeah. So no, that's a really cool point to point out. I do remember that one portion of the book. And yeah, I mean, the start is definitely always the hardest, and I don't want to say it's easier now, because it's just a different hard. I think it's like the same thing people say with kids. Like, the very beginning of kids is hard, and it doesn't get easier, it just gets different. And so I will say, like, yeah, the first 3 years of the channel though, like I've never worked so hard in my life. Like I really wanted this. Like I'm in this chair and I do this for a living because I really wanted it. And I like the saying, you only get in life what you don't get in life what you want, you get in life what you have to have. That's a Tony Robbins saying. And so like I had to be someone that snowboarded almost every single day. It's just like it's where I find my happiness, it's where I find my purpose, it's what I want to do in life is I want to go snowboard an ungodly amount every single day, every single week, every single year. Like I don't see myself just like because if I'm not doing that, I'm playing video games. Like I'll just take that type of relentless energy into gaming every single day. And not that that's a bad thing. I did that when I was younger. I've almost like lived that life and put it away. So it's like now I want to be moving.
I would say that something that motivated me to go snowboarding every day, which once again, I'm not afraid to admit it. Like you were putting in the work and I was getting the sleep in when it came to all that. But one thing that motivated me to keep doing the channel and like showing up every day and whatnot was the comments. So Johnathan would upload the video fairly early in the morning. It was usually up by like 8 a.m. our time for the day. And that was around our first, like around our lunchtime because, mind you, we were getting to work at 3:30, 4 a.m. And then 4 hours later, so 8:30 is when, and at Target, you had to take your lunch by the 5th hour. You could not take your lunch after that 5th hour because they had a super strict rule about it. So you had to take your lunch between that 4 to 5 hours. And so we would take our lunch then, the video would be uploaded, and people would start commenting. So on our lunch, we'd be sitting there eating food and like scrolling through the video, like having it play in the background, but like reading the comments. And so it was never like, oh, how many views did it get? How many views did it get? It was just like, ooh, how, like did people like it? Like what are the comments saying? And I just remember going through and looking at that, and there really was like a community being built there, and so many people were like appreciating it, and so many people were amazed by it, and so many people were discovering us and being like, wait, you guys have 50 videos of this or 80 videos or 130 videos of this? Like no way. And they were so like encapsulated by it. So that's what like was so motivating in my mind, was just seeing those comments and what people had to say about it and inspiring people, everything like that, and entertaining people. Like it went a long way. So if you guys are enjoying this content, please comment down below. I look forward to seeing your guys' comments, especially these get uploaded at the start of the week, and a lot of people have a lot of motivating stuff to say at the start of the week, like let's get this week started or whatever it may be. So yeah, join the conversation down below. It means a lot to me and Johnathan. So
absolutely. And I think a big motivator for me too was to show you like the work ethic and the grind. Because I mean, you gotta remember, you were young. You were 17. You know, I was 23, and so I was like, I get to like show my brother how awesome this life is, and how to work hard and grind, and I don't know. It's just like it was such a cool time frame. The silliest thing is like I really feel like I learned that determination through video games. So like I can accomplish or do or I can do anything because I can put my head down and just grind it out. And I learned that by doing that through like achievement hunting in video games and like grinding out. Like when Halo 3, I'd be like, oh, I'm gonna get 100 wins today on my like. They used to track how many wins, losses, like things you had, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna win 100 games and like just sit down for the day and just play until I won 100 games. Like, I guess that was always in me. I just found a way, like through video games was how I found how to like track it.
I wouldn't necessarily say it as like regret, but if I could go back and relive my life differently, I 100% would. And so many people probably would say that or not say that, but it's more so like, you were saying that like you wanted to inspire me to like show like work ethic and everything, and not saying you didn't, but my mind was so closed in high school. Like my mind was closed like through elementary, middle, and high school, and even as a young adult for so much, because like I just didn't know, right? I just was like I was ignorant to a lot of this stuff. But now, I'd say in the last probably 4 years, like 3 to 4 years, I've really invested in reading and like self-discovery and pushing myself and like understanding myself as like where I struggle, like being closed-minded and how to be open-minded, right? And just like shifting my mind. So it's like if I could have only done that, like, I'd say 10 years sooner, like, oh my goodness, I would be able to consume things differently. I would have different habits and things like that. And obviously you can't go back and you can't dwell on the past, but like for you to say that it was really like you trying to motivate me was inspiring. Like, I love that for you, bro. And I wish I was in a much better mindset when we were doing that channel, because I think not only would that have propelled myself further in life, but I also think it would have propelled our channel further if I just had a slightly different mindset. And I can't change that. I can't go back. And I'm happy that it worked out for you. But all I got to do is like continue to work on myself and continue to work on what I'm working on now. But yeah, I'm happy that you had a strong mindset about video games that then led you into a strong mindset about snowboarding. And then here you are now, killing it.
I don't understand mindset and how you get it, like how you get your mindset. Like you said, you were closed-minded and like now everything's opening up and all that stuff. And it's just one of those things where like for me as a kid, and I don't know if it's because in church, like literally, I remember growing up in church and like walking past one of the pastors and he stopped and he pointed at me and he goes, "God told me to tell you that you're going to lead men." And then he just walked away. And then I've had tons of people, like multiple times throughout my childhood, whether it was in school or at church events, be like, "I really think you're going to lead a large group of people. Like you're going to lead men." But also like somehow I developed this mindset of like, I can accomplish anything. Like what do you want in life? If I want it, I'm going to have it. And I don't know where I got that. Like, but from like 8 years old, I've always believed like, if I want to be able to do something, I could do it. I just go do it. And so I just always have had that. And I carried that as my young adultness. And it was like, as ignorant as like, I was probably more annoying on this, like as a young 18, 19, 21-year-old, just like, I can do anything I want. I if I want to do it, I'm going to do it. Like over cocky, like cocky where like I haven't done anything to be cocky, but I'm cocky. I probably had that as a young, like super young person. But yeah, I don't know what determines or who gives you your mindset.
I think mindset is very fascinating. I think it does come with a lot of like does come a lot with like your just general upbringing, like you were saying, of like people in church influencing you in that direction, or even your own parents or whatever. And I can create excuses or think of reasons why I think that my mindset is the way that it is, but at the end of the day, once again, it's not going to change anything, and so there's no reason for me to dwell on that. And I just have to focus on the now and what I can change now and what I can control, right? So, yeah, no, it's I don't want to say it's a tough reality, but it's like, you have to accept that. Like, I have to accept that was the life that I had growing up, in the mindset that I had. And I wish things went differently, of course, but once again, like, I can't change that. Nothing is going to change that. And if I just dwell on that and beat myself up, like, that's not going to help me at all. And once again, I've referenced it so much, but going back to the book, kind of talks about that as like, it takes effort to do nothing, and it takes effort to go all in, right? And to most people, that doesn't make any sense. Like, doing nothing means you're not expending effort. Doing something means you're expending effort. That's actually not true, because if I'm doing nothing, what I'm most likely doing is I'm in my head and I'm beating myself up and I'm being toxic in my own head, and I'm making excuses or making reasons, or just being kind of like, I'm putting an effort into doing nothing. I'm putting effort into thinking in the past or whatever it may be. Whereas I could be taking that effort I'm spending doing nothing and beating myself up, and instead put effort into doing something and lifting myself up. And that is so much better. It's so much more positive. It leads you in such a better direction to be thinking that way, to be putting in that effort, opposed to doing nothing. So they talk about that in the book. And That's really where I'm just trying to dwell right now.
Like the mental beating yourself up, I'm so brutal with it. Like I almost like I try to have like as much as a successful day as I possibly can, because if I'm just being a sloth or like whatever, like I beat the living crap out of myself mentally. I know, like I put some weight back on this last winter, primarily the last like 2 months, and I am in my head beating myself up so bad about it. And so like once again, whether it's work or eating healthy or being healthy, like it takes work to be healthy. It also takes work to be unhealthy, and that kind of leads us into the next book we're going to be reading. So if you guys are interested in joining our book club, we got the 4-Season Solution. This is Ben's book recommendation, and I've already started it. I don't know if you've started it yet, bro, but I'm already crushing through it. And I for anyone that's like, I don't know if I want to read this or not. So like this guy wrote a couple books, the Whole30, and it starts with food, and those are kind of diet-based books where it talks about like eating healthy foods and how they really will change your life and make you lose a ton of weight, because I've done Whole30 and so has Ben. But the premise of this book is living by the seasons, like our ancestors did, and how the majority of people live in the summertime, where in the summertime it's as humans it's more natural to eat way more sugary fruits and vegetables, and just like your diet shifts in the summer to where like in the winter it's more like root based vegetables like potatoes, and you're eating meat and things like that more in the winter than in the summer. Everything's like fresh and growing and stuff. And so he's putting this idea of like what we eat and how we act in the summer. Most people, because we live in such a modern society, most people carry that into other seasons of life instead of shifting and adjusting. I mean, it's talking about sleep in this, it's talking about activity in this, and how, I don't know, so far it's been pretty rad. I don't know if you've started it yet, bro.
I have not started it because I'm just gonna address the elephant in the room. Jonathan and I filmed a bunch of these. Sorry, my throat. But Jonathan and I filmed a couple of these podcasts early because of his snowboard camp that's coming up. So we are not in June yet. So I actually have not started this. I still have to finish a little bit of the 10X rule. But hearing you talk about it, that's kind of what I thought this was, because it's called the 4-Season Solution, right? There is technically 4 seasons in the world. So yeah, like that's what I thought that this was going to be about. I'm happy that you did start it and are able to touch on that a little bit. It actually makes me really excited to get into this. But I just want to say, like, once again, like, no one's really commented about joining the book club, and that's fine. To each their own. But it's one of those, like, I really think that reading books changes your life, and this 10X rule book is eye-opening to me, and I'm so happy that you recommended this book, bro. Like, I really am. I am so happy that you recommended this book. It's something I really needed. It's talking to me personally on a lot of levels. So I'm very thankful that you recommended that book. But just to have these moments to reflect on and to conversate on, it's so awesome, bro. Like, I've never been in like a book club or read a book with somebody. So to be able to sit here with you and like discuss this is like, it's incredible. And I would love for you guys to have that same experience. So if you guys listen to this podcast alone, or if you listen to this podcast with your partner or whatever it may be, like, just try it. Just try it one month. You could even read the 10X rule, even though we're technically finished with that book already. You don't have to jump into the 4-season solution, but like go back to a different book, or just choose a book of your own. It'll change your life.
Or recommend a book. Kenny recommended a book. He recommended, let me pull it up, Drive by Daniel H. Pink, The Surprising Truth About What Motivates Us. So I think we should read that book after we read this one. So real quick, any of the books are in the description. We should also, like, for the whole season, bro, maybe have like 10X for like all the books we read, like a tracker. So if someone wants to jump in and grab one, the links to grab the books off Amazon are always there. On the note of if it's just me and you reading these books and doing it, first off, that's fine, because me and you are growing and getting better. But everything starts with no one being a part of it. and you got to just keep doing it, keep doing it, and keep doing it. And maybe one person will jump in, keep doing it, keep doing it. Maybe two people will jump in. You just keep doing it, you keep doing it. And then eventually it's like, okay, now we got a book club with 10 people. And that's huge. 10 people. That's a lot. We put 10 people in my office. That's a lot of people in this little office, you know? And so I am a big fan of, I don't care if people are doing it or not doing it. I said we're going to read a book every month. And so yeah, I think it's exciting. Like you said, it also gives us a point to talk with, and who knows, maybe we'll pick a book. It'll be one book. One person decides to read it. They don't comment that they've read it. They don't comment that they did anything. They just saw the podcast, bought the book, read the book, and it changed their life. That could absolutely happen, and that's really exciting at the same time. You know, someone could read the 10X rule, and now they're out there grinding, and they're not commenting and watching videos anymore because they're just putting in everything. So I know for this year, I put that I was going to read over 12 books this year. Once again, none of this is a New Year's resolution. This is just me trying to dominate my 2025. And I was behind on the book reading because obviously January and February are crazy months for me. So I didn't really read a book through that time frame. So in the last 3 months, I've read 5 books. I'm hyped on that, and I'm already cranking through this one. So there is going to be moments, everyone just listening, that I'm gonna complete the books before Ben, but because I have a absurd goal to be reading a lot right now. So just so you guys know, that's why I'll be probably ahead of Ben in all of the books, because once I finish that book, I'm gonna get this book that Kenny recommended. But I literally am about to show you guys a stack of like all the next books that I'm going to be reading. Like I'm on it. I'm like focused, excited. I want to have a huge season of growth this summer, because last summer, funny enough, to wrap up this podcast, last summer I blew my ankle out at my snowboard camp on day 1. Goal for this year's camp is to be healthy through the whole camp and be there for the campers. Last year, blew my ankle out day 1 and had to do all the coaching from that sideline, which sucked. And then my whole summer went to recovery and trying to just get back to normal. So like I'm ready for like a dominant summer where I like grow a lot.
I'm happy for you, bro. Yeah, no, it's, you really are cranking out these books, and it makes sense because kind of like what you're saying, going back to 10X rule of like, you're all in on one thing, or not even necessarily one thing, but like you're all in on parts of your life, right? And so once again, during the snowboard season, you're all in on snowboard season, you're all in on the content creation, like that is your main focus. Of course, you're still supporting your family and still spending time with them, but then when the summer comes, that's when you're all in on spending time with your family. That's when you're going on these trips, on vacations, and taking them to the zoo or whatever it may be. But also, that's when you're all in on the reading. That's when you're, catching up on your goal of doing 12 books in a year, or more than 12 books in a year. Although that sounds like, okay, so he's reading a book a month. No, because once again, January, February, November, December, or October, those are months that you cannot read as much, right? So you're cranking out those books in the summer and things like that, right? You're putting in that 10X effort when you can to get that, to accomplish your goals and to do all that stuff. So yeah, and of course you're right. I am not belittling the fact that somebody might have bought the book and just not really isn't much of a commenter, and that's fine. But you're right. Like changing one person's life is enough. Like changing one person's life is a what do you call it? Like I'm blanking on the word. Like it's a privilege. Yeah, that's the word. Like if you could change one person's life, like that is amazing. To be able to do that, to be able to impact somebody's life, even if it's just one person, or if it's 100 people or 10 people or whatever it may be, that's amazing. And so you're right. Like I'm not belittling that fact at all. And I want anyone to be able to take something away from this podcast, even if it's hearing the benefits vicariously through us, right? Or reading the book vicariously through us, whatever it may be. I hope that you guys are benefiting from this podcast. Last thing before I put it back over to you, this book Drive that Kenny recommended. It's actually a fairly popular book, and the reason why I know that is, once again, I used to buy and resell stuff from thrift stores, particularly books, and that book Drive, I've seen it a ton, and that's when I know it's like a popular book, because I've seen it a ton at thrift stores. So yeah, no, I think that would be a good one to pick up, and I'm excited to check it out.
Sweet. All right, guys, I gotta get ready for camp. I gotta get to my life. I gotta go get new tires on this RV and stuff. So thanks for listening, watching. Like, subscribe to the channel, join the conversation, ask us questions. If you ask a question, there's a great chance we are going to be answering it in the next episode. So do that. Also, expect Ben to, I'm gonna do my best to try and podcast while I'm on the road for a whole month of June. But Ben might be doing a podcast with our older brother, maybe our younger sister as well. Maybe he'll do a solo episode, or maybe we'll film something different-y due to the fact that I got my life stuff I got to take on. But we will also try to podcast. It's just hard when you're in a camper, small space, to take the camper for an hour to film one of these. So we'll get creative.
Indeed. No, I'm looking forward to talking with siblings, but also, like I said, or like Jonathan was saying, like a solo podcast. Sorry, once again, I'm getting over the sickness. I really am sorry, guys, but no, I think I've got some stuff that I could easily talk about on a solo podcast, and the last one actually did pretty well. So maybe we'll jump into something like that. But I do hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. If you did, let me know down in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for being you. Thank you guys for being part of the conversation. But that was episode 60. Episode 60, the books. Yeah.
Crazy.
We'll see you guys next week with another episode. Peace.